In a period of 1 hour, the fire was controlled. Some 2011 old stock of electoral materials, primarily handbags for election officials and envelopes, were destroyed. No material relating to the preparations for the 2015 general elections was affected in the fire incidents. And that was why, in order to minimize speculation, we ourselves, Sunday morning, contacted the media and informed them. Nobody knew that this had happened. But we contacted them, notified them, organized a tour where we showed them this is what happened, this is the extent of the damage. It has not affected any preparation for the 2015 general election. And that was the opportunity they had to take photographs.
Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is E15 and we're counting now 11 days to the presidential election in Nigeria, and we're looking at Army not empowered to monitor polls. Jide, in one breath, Professor Atari Joga is calling for the military to monitor that exercise. In another breath, he's telling us that it's not constitutional.
No, the guy is just playing on words. Professor Jega has consistently demanded for the presence of the military. And what he said yesterday, it does not in any way suggest that his attitude has changed. Now, what he's trying to do is ensure that you don't blame him, because soldiers will be used for the forthcoming elections. Let's tell ourselves the truth. Yes, they will be used. I stand to be corrected, because I'm very certain about that. We have not reached, everywhere. We have not reached that point when you can fully entrust the security of our people on election day to the police. We've seen, even when you talk about the possibility of compromise, the police are even worse. They are worse. You know? So what Jega has said is, look, if we need soldiers, because he knows what the Constitution says, if we need soldiers on election day, it is the Inspector General of Police that will request for such assistance. But even without waiting to be told that the police, that the IG will ask for assistance of the military, I know the IG that we have there now, even though he's a lawyer by training, he knows what the Constitution says. But I know he will ask for the military. So Jega has carefully now taken this, burden off his own head. So you can't say it was Jega that asked for the police. But if you go on the net, you will see many instances when Jega said, look, we need them. Even when we are moving our sensitive equipment to the polling units, we need them to provide security cover for our staff. He said that repeatedly, So why was the election moved? If we wouldn't even need these soldiers in the first place, look, maybe there wouldn't have been this postponement. So Jega knows what he's doing, but he also knows that there is a ruling, there is a Federal High Court ruling that says that, look, these soldiers should not be deployed for election. So at the end of the day, you are not going to blame Jega when you see those soldiers on our streets on election day, because he has said that it is the police who can ask for the soldiers to assist them on election day, because the police are mandated by the Constitution, to provide protection for our people during the elections.
Would they not be holding us to ransom again? We had a situation with February 14th. Professor Atari Joga heaped the blame on our service chief, talking about the insecurity, the northeastern part of the country, that practically the military postponed the elections.
Well, as it is, it's a matter of technicalities, because whether you like it or not, every force that we have, they are primarily to protect. You now begin to determine what protection, whether it is the territorial integrity, whatever. But the primary responsibility is to ensure that there's security. So, I mean, when we had occupied Lagos, we saw the military. Lagos State was militarized. And then the governor of Lagos State, made a whole lot of noise. We had people like Professor Itsesage making a whole lot of noise. But they came out to say, we saw that people could hijack the protest, and we felt that the military was needed. There was need for military intervention. So, you see, we can go back and forth, and the courts can determine all sorts. But I can tell you that when one court says A, another one is nullifying. So these are all issues of technicalities in determining how you define the constitutional role of all these kind of security agencies and apparatus. So for me, I think strongly that, at the end of the day, okay, I'll give an example. When they went to storm, when the DSS stormed an office belonging to the APC, I mean, we made a lot of noise. That, is it the function of them, of such agency? How did they, what report did they have? What was the role of the police and all that? But at the end of the day, what came out of it? So we can do all our analysis here, but it gets to a point where the issue of constitutional roles will be determined by the courts. And because the languages are quite different, but at the same time, they are the same. Provide security. So if Jega is saying in context that we will need the military, those who are saying they don't want military, they have the reasons why they don't want military. Because we've seen, according to certain reports, I would say for now it may not be true, but what we had was that there was a particular role that was played by the military.
Inclusion, yeah.
Okay? And you see, let me tell you the truth. Part of the problem is that if you're going to the polls, just like we said about OPC today, if you're going to the polls and you see gun-wielding military men, I can tell you, some people believe that, I don't need to get to this point. Let me go back to my home and sit down. Because the next thing, the military can begin to shoot. So when you see all that...
That was defiled in Oshu State.
So psychologically, it has its own role. That's why some people don't want them on the streets. The police with their bettings and all that is even better. But when you see a military man with all the studs and everything, and then has a gun around his neck, then you begin to worry.
Enshrined in our electoral
act comes into you.
That the polling unit, polling booths, that the armed policemen should not be there.
And then what do you have?
300 meters to the polling unit.
You understand? But what do we have? You have them around everywhere carrying guns. So when you look at the entire, the subject itself, you begin to worry in terms of the role they are supposed to play and what they are playing eventually. How is it benefiting us on the long run? So, and it's all because our elections today is still riddled with all manner of violence.
Yes.
Because if we don't have violence and you go to the polls, you vote, you leave the place, why do you need gun-wielding people around? So that's why I'm saying sometimes it backfires. Because like what we saw of OPC, somebody will say, if this is what you guys will have for the election, I'd rather not go and vote. I already know those who are saying, I've spoken to about 3, 4, 5, 6 people who are saying, vote me. What am I going to do there? They now see them carrying guns. You now see the military man at the doorpost where you want to go and vote, carrying guns. You are worried because anything that happens there, the man fires. We hear about accidental discharges every day, and nothing is being done. So what happens if the man says you are trying to snatch the ballot box? What do you want to do?
Tokumbo, another note now.
Yes.
In the same meeting yesterday, because Atairu Jega said a lot of things. Yesterday, he said he has a job to do till 11th of April.
Yeah.
That he's not considering at all resigning, that he's not a civil servant, he's not going on leave, and he didn't miss word in saying it that, look, make no mistake about this, I'll preside over this election, and I'll conduct this election, and I have a job to do till the 11th of April.
He's been firm. My example of this situation is this. The tenant is owing the landlord money, and the landlord wakes up one day and says, you've owed me this long, and yet you're not paying. Okay, I know what to do. I'll cut off your lights. If that's not working after you buy your generator, okay, it cuts your supply of water. We grew up in this Lagos to know that at a point in time, before you go out and come back, your landlord has removed your door.
Your door and the roof.
And the roof, change your lock, everything changed. By the time you get in there, you can't enter the place. Now, that exactly has been what the government the power of government has been doing. To remove Jega, he became
I wonder why OPC will take to the streets asking for the removal of Jega.
Sorry, why? Jega's case became a worrisome Jiga in the footstool. Stubborn Jiga. They've done everything. Went to the house, turn it over, turn it to Senate, turn it over.
Kadrida.
Kadrida issue, turn it over. Now, it is now people on the streets that are now begging to go on the street to say they don't want him. The man is firm. He has said this. Look, for the benefit of Nigerians, this is the situation now. I intend to do this unto this. I will serve my term unto this. I will not leave. I don't intend. You know, you kept saying the word intend. I don't intend to.
Clear about it.
So anything that now removes Jega tomorrow morning or this evening, definitely it's a fire play that is beyond him. And it's very chaotic. It portends serious danger. And I'm going to go back a bit to what Dr. Njide has submitted earlier. The issue is equivocation. It's equivocative. When you say one thing this way and say another thing this way. And the landing story is this. If care is not taken, we'll have a situation where we say we do not want military, yet we want them to be there at that time to protect. Anytime you see military down the road, the fear that grips you as a driver is different from the fear that grips you when the police are at the checkpoints. It is just totally different.
Absolutely.
And so their presence matters a lot. So for me, I'm back to that issue. I think the man is firm. He's made it known. I don't intend to. The intent, I underline it all the time. And I remember that he made the word intention or intent known about 4 or 5 times during that very short press
Quickly, Jide, in the Sephora, Jega said he's going ahead with the card reader.
Yes. I do expect him to say he's not going ahead with it.
The pressure, the call from the interest group, Masob, PDP, saying that do away with the card reader. But he's focused and he's saying that he will use the card reader.
Jega is not the kind of man that you could just intimidate him. He's very forthright. He's deeply religious. And whatever he believes in, he goes ahead to do. That's exactly what we are saying. He will do what he thinks is right at the end of the day. He thinks that the military have policed some of the best conducted elections in Nigerian history, and he wants to use them. He wants to use them. It's a matter of just saying, look, read my lips. So he's found another way. He's going to use them in this election, but he's found another way to bring them in. So that's Jega for you. He's somebody that I related with.
Doesn't give up easily.
In my days when I was practicing journalism in Kano. I know him very well. Jega will never be intimidated to resign. He has said it. He said, look, the only reason why I can resign is if someone wants to force me, you know, to compromise the elections. Maybe force him to rig the election in that person's favor. You go and say, look, you can't use me to do this. Yes, that's the only, because he's determined to conduct a fair and fair election. Our elections have gotten better since this man became the INEC chairman, you know. And we've seen, in some cases, even the opposition defeating the incumbent. We saw it. You know, so he thinks that, look, he has to live on a high. And how does he live on a high? Is by conducting free and fair elections on March 28th, my birthday, and then on April 11th. You know, so that man, the man is resolute about that, and nothing. He's not going to listen to Masob. Who is Masob, for God's sake? He's not going to listen to OPC. They didn't employ him. And I think he also has.
Oh, Afenifere.
You know, he was saying, so he said, I'm not under pressure. He said, I'm not under pressure to resign. That means nobody in the presidency has even brought up that idea. You see, because there are meanings that you can read through tests. You are reading maybe 2-3 paragraphs of tests. You could read meanings, you know, within those paragraphs. So he's saying nobody has put pressure on me to resign. So, and President Jonathan has said, look, I've not even considered it. You know, OPC can make all the noise, Masob can make, Masob even said that they will want the Biafran currency, you know, to become a legal tender. So those are the people that you want us to take seriously?
Who does that?
You know, they can make all the noise in the world. At the end of the day, Jega will do what he thinks is right. Okay. And the Jagada I know has not changed. So he's going to deliver to the best of his ability a credible election for Nigeria.
Quickly, I think we go to Borno State. We have our correspondent, Michael Oshoma, to tell us about our army the military got rid of terrorists in Bama, Goniri, in Boko Haram's camp. Hello, Michael.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, Michael. How are you?
Yobe State.
I'm fine.
In Yobe State, can you please give us an update of what is happening?
Yeah, it is quite, it's a thing of joy to know that the military has actually dislodged the insurgents out of Gonori, which happens to be the last town where the insurgents are occupying. It's quite, it's a thing of joy, actually. It was a battle for them because during that time, the insurgents are actually they are much in Gonori actually, but finally the military won by dislodging them out of that particular town. Right now, a lot of the Gonori has been deserted. A lot of military troops has been deployed down to Gonori to occupy the town. And according to investigation, we discovered that some of them, in the course of engaging the military, some of them actually left the town, without being hurt. Though the military, a lot of them were killed in the course of engaging them.